Yo guys, the Chat Champ here, and today I'm back with another versus video. But unlike my last video, I'll be comparing characters from two different verses, and with the remake of Resident Evil 4 and the fourth movie in the John Wick franchise on the horizon, I thought there would be no better time than to compare the two protagonists from each installment in a death battle-esque scenario. So to kick it off, let's look at the Baba Yaga himself. In the red corner, John Wick is boasting pretty impressive feats, with him casually breaking the necks of other hitmen in his own verse, including the 7'3" Ernest, who was pretty obviously bigger and stronger than John during their confrontation. Wick also has consistent statements of having killed men with nothing but a pencil, with even these stories have been stated to be watered down. He's also been seen taking on and defeating armoured members of the high table security in straight hands, and during the events of the third movie, John fought students of the esteemed assassin Zero, with John being able to smash them through a pane of bulletproof glass. This feat was calculated to be within the tier of war level, however thanks to John's custom made suit, his durability should also just be higher with said suit, to the point he could stop the penetration of bullets. In the blue corner we have Leon S. Kennedy, someone who is out here casually breaking the necks of enemies with simple kicks. He's also physically comparable to Chris Redfield, as seen in Resident Evil 6, and later actually showcases better physical stats during the events of Resident Evil Vendetta, as he was able to physically harm and take attacks from a mutated Glenn Arias, who had fused with his BOW bodyguard Diego. Chris himself was shown to be able to battle Ouroboros Wesker during the events of Resident Evil 5, with this version of Wesker stated to have the power and endurance beyond anything that Chris had faced prior. This would automatically include the Magini equivalent to Resident Evil 4's El Gigante, the Indesu, who was calculated to be large building level based on the calcifit creating a projectile boulder. The characters of Resident Evil have their fair share of bullet timing feats, and Leon is no exception to this. He's shown capable of combating Jack Krauser after he'd become a host of the Las Plagas parasite, which would have increased his stats where he could even deflect RPG fire as stated within the guide of RE4. The speed of an RPG is generally around 294 meters per second, which puts the feat at around subsonic, so being as these two characters can fight, Leon should be comfortably in the same tier 2. John is comfortably able to keep up in fights with some of the best in his verse. He's seen able to handle himself in firefights and competitions of hand-to-hand combat with all manner of fighters. So I think it's safe to say that based on this, and being the best hitman in his verse, he'd be capable of mimicking the speed of fighters from our own universe, with the competition being able to produce, and therefore dodge, speeds of 45 miles per hour when throwing their strikes. John's biggest flex is by far his skills in martial arts, marksmanship, tactical thinking, and knowledge of the body. He's referred to as a super assassin, the world's best hitman, and was the baddest criminal in the underworld back in his heyday. Wick also seems to think so too, considering he implies himself capable of running anyone's fade, based on the line at the end of chapter 2.
I'll kill them. I'll kill them all.
John's main fighting style revolves around using grappling arts such as judo, jiu-jitsu, and sambo wrestling to disarm and land clean kills on almost any enemy he comes to blows with. During the events of John Wick chapter 4, Wick will be coming to blows with Donnie Yen's character, and considering that actress Ruby Rose was allowed to use her base background in boxing and martial arts as the means to her character's fighting style, it would seem fitting that Donnie Yen, who is the creme of the crop when it comes to stuntmen, would be allowed to translate his master level martial arts to the John Wick universe too. Wick is also dubbed a Master of Death by Zero, another highly revered hitman, with the Baba Yaga then beating him in one-on-one combat in the climax of the third movie. While it seems that Zero could have inflicted serious wounds on John in the fight, possibly ending the fight there and then, Zero himself does state that John was not only exhausted by this point after running a gauntlet through all of his students, but also injured.
John, you're incredible. Exhausted. Outnumbered. Obviously in pain.
John is also a very well accomplished marksman, with him demonstrating high accuracy with every firearm he uses throughout the franchise, and he's also able to effortlessly blend his use of firearms into other forms of fighting, whether it be in CQC or while driving. John is also shown to be adaptable mid-combat when faced with different styles of fighting, with the director of the franchise stating that this was done on purpose to create more challenges for John.
And it's like, we call it the blood sport mentality. You have the Thai boxer fight the judo guy, and the problems that could cause, that's what's interesting, right?
However, this ability shouldn't really be a surprise, considering that the best fighters in our own world have been seen capable of adapting to opponents mid-fight. The Baba Yaga is also extremely proficient in stealth, as he's able to evade the sight of Zero multiple times in their fight, blending into the darkness and weaving around the glass panes of the environment. As a master tactician, John also knows how to navigate his environment a lot of the time. Most notably, this is reflected in during his time infiltrating the D'Antonio estate, with the head of the family later stating that Wick was surveying his surroundings and counting the exits and any potential targets, while also taking into account how much time it will take to kill him. Once an ordinary police officer, Leon eventually becomes one of the most skilled fighters in his verse, as after the events of Raccoon City, he undergoes a special training program by an agency linked to the President of the United States. This training that Leon had to undergo and the missions he was exposed to almost killed him, per his own words. On the official website for the Secret Service, it stated that those that enrolled into the organisation undergo unparalleled training in regards to skills such as weapons usage and martial arts. So it should be valid to assume that Leon was also exposed to this extremely high level of training at the very least. Years after this training was completed, he demonstrates the ability to hold his own against characters like Chris Redfield, who underwent his own training arc and is stated to have a decent level of combat-based adaptation, which is also showcased in the events of Resident Evil Vendetta, where Chris fights Glenn Arias on 2 separate occasions, getting embarrassed by him in the first encounter, and then being able to fight relative to him in the second. To get a good idea of what martial arts Leon actually knows, Godzilla Rex made a video showcasing that Leon seems to know about 6 martial arts based on his in-game showings. However, this analysis did leave out Leon's cinematic appearances, in which he showcases a form of gun fu on top of the aforementioned styles. Both combatants have a plethora of different weapons throughout the events of their respective franchises. John consistently uses handguns, as it is the weapon best suited to blend in with his grappling-based fighting style. However, during the events of John Wick 2, John purchases a specific arsenal of weapons, consisting of a Glock 34 and 26, an AR-15, and a Benelli M4, as well as a straight blade when it comes to knife wielding. Wick's suit is not only some of the best grip in the underworld, but also functions as a cutting-edge body armour which can take fire from weapons that blatantly scale above him physically. Leon's arsenal is mainly dependent on what you think is canon. When it comes to lore, Leon is consistently utilising a form of Desert Eagle, with the version he uses by 2008 surpassing any other before it in terms of power. The rest of his arsenal is somewhat debatable, as the inventory of the character is determined by the choice of the player. When it comes to the winner, I'd have to say that Leon takes it pretty decisively, which is in large thanks to his superior stats. While John is definitely no slouch, he definitely isn't prepared for someone who has honed their body to take down zombies and giant mutants for a living. That said, Wick definitely has the edge when it comes to skill. Not only does he seem visually more impressive from a technique standpoint, but also has faster combat-based adaptation, as well as the feats of besting the best killers on Earth when it comes to direct combat, and is yet to be bested in a 1v1 without context. On top of all this, Leon's equipment exceeds his own capabilities when it comes to attack potency, so even a prolonged firefight would be out of the question. But, with that all said and done, I hope you enjoyed the video, and give me your thoughts on the matchup in the comments, as well as what other videos you'd like to see from me in the future. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe.